I'm gonna go to the restroom.
Okay, you just got that on air. So, hello everybody, and you probably just heard that Joel's got to go to the restroom. He's got to go tinkle. Anyway, we're going to be discussing today the Ghost Adventures last 2 episodes. Now, I'm sorry that we missed doing the one the day after episode 7 for season 14, but that was Father's Day. I'm not used to celebrating it. You know, the world generally doesn't tend to focus on Father's Day. It's mothers, it's children, it's whatever. And so I had forgotten Father's Day was even coming up because usually speaking, I don't, as I said, do anything for it. This Father's Day, we actually did go out, and I got a new shirt, some new shorts, and mostly got clothes for the kids, however, but I got stuff for me because I needed it. And so we didn't do it on that day. And of course, Joel was still out of town in Hawaii, and he just recently returned. So he's going to tell us all about how wonderful Hawaii was, you bastard. That just slipped out, sorry. And he's going to come back and tell us all about how wonderful the place was and how amazing of an aura it had. And people are going to say, well, how do you know that? Did you discuss it with them? No, it's just, you know, it's one of those things. It's one of the things we were talking about off air is how well each of us seems to be, Joel and I seem to be tuned into the other. So while he was there enjoying the aura of the place, there was times when I would just be overwhelmed by his being overwhelmed. And going, gosh, I wish Sean was here to see this. Gosh, I wish Sean could see this. And it's one of those things when you're gifted. You see more, you take in more. There's more to be seen beneath the surface than most people appreciate. And that's not to say that people that are going to Hawaii can't really appreciate the beauty. It's just they can't really see everything. There are things above and below the surface, and there's wonders within wonders to be seen. Just being able to see something's aura, especially the aura of some of the plants in the area and the ocean, and being near the plants and the volcanic soil, how it must vibrate. I can only imagine because Joel only can send me snippets of it. And people are going to say, well, what is that like? Well, it's complicated. Can we teach that? No, I have no idea how we do it. So you'll have to forgive me on that one. In any case, the first episode that we were going to discuss is Skinwalker Canyon, and the other one is Upper Frutiland Curse. And if you may remember from the last episode that I'd done, there is no such thing as a curse. In order to be dealing with something negative like this, something has to be attached to the area. And wow, there is. And the boys actually got out of it alive, which is pretty amazing to me. They have guardian angels, I'm guessing, because the second episode that we're going to discuss is really the exact polar opposite of the Skinwalker Canyon. Skinwalker Canyon for me was more a matter of laughing and eventually falling asleep at the end of the episode because there really wasn't much to talk about, but there are some things that were happening that we will discuss. And the exciting finale will be talking about what happened in the Upper Frutiland Curse, because that is a story, a layered event, one like I have only dealt with for one person ever. And these guys need help. They need a lot of help. They're going to need people that know exactly what they're doing and some way to be able to help them. Anyway, are you back from the little girl's room?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to start with I guess, should we go with the Hawaii first? Because I know you're gushing over that. Or should we go to the Ghost Adventures?
You know, we could talk about the Ghost Adventure because I think like my experience in Hawaii will kind of mesh very well with like the whole Ghost Adventure thing about how the land feels and how it feels to be connected with that, the energy of the land, because there's definitely something going on with the second one with the land, and definitely something going on with the first one with the land. So why don't we do the shows first, and then we can talk about the other.
Okay. Well, let's go on. Let's start off with the legend of the Skinwalker. Now, depending on who you listen to, who you talk to, what person is going to tell you the story, whether it's a Navajo native or it's going to be somebody who's just spoken to a Navajo who actually will tell you about Skinwalkers. Skinwalkers, in short, are a very large category of creature that is no longer quite earthly. Now, they can be humanoid creatures, semi-humanoid creatures, and their origins are a mixed bag. Either they're a shaman. I know they used witch in the movie. Sorry, in the show. No, it's not a witch. It's usually a shaman that has gone wrong or taken a bad turn or wanted to embrace immortality by embracing the animal side of themselves and getting free of any of their humanity. And feeding on not only fear but flesh in a similar way to the Wendigo, almost to a degree that they're interchangeable in the stories. If you, depending on where you go to, some places will talk about the Rake, some places will talk about the Wendigo, some will talk about Skinwalkers. The biggest differences between them is how they present their danger, how they came into existence, and what dangers they present to you. Now, you cannot summon a Skinwalker. Skinwalker was apparently once human, but you can hide them, and they do tend to want to stay away from sight in general. Now, I don't know if that they're completely earthly, or if they can pull themselves onto the astral completely and leave our plane, and then pull themselves back onto this plane when they want to menace something. But these creatures have apparently a very well-deserved negative, I guess you'd say, background, because they have been known to exist ever since the Pueblo people lived lived in the area where the Navajo took over after the Pueblo folk just went extinct for no reason we could discover. And the Pueblo folk actually had drawings of humans turning into animals and becoming, I don't know, I guess you'd say wolves in the fold and hunting things down. Now, in this one particular canyon, it's known that I think it was it New Mexico? I have to look again. Anyway, in Skinwalker Canyon on the Navajo reservation, which is near Four Corners, these creatures have been known to be found or encountered, and they've been tracked to this cave. The boys went there, and oh boy, their entire lead up to it was, I don't know, funny. They got a blessing, and then this native shaman woman said, "Here, I want to give you. I'm sorry, I want to give you some of this, so we can make you more spiritual and add to your protection." And they didn't know that they got slipped peyote. Now, at this point, I'm like, don't take the natural herb from the nice lady. You don't know what you're getting in for. Normal folk, if they take peyote, what happens to Zach and the others is what happens to them. They go off on a trip. We're warriors now. Funniest thing I've ever watched. You know, it's way more fun to watch somebody else get completely tanked and then fall all over themselves than for you to do it yourself. Take it from a person who used to be a bouncer. There's probably 20 different ways you can watch people get drunk or screwed up, and it's always a laugh fest until somebody starts throwing fists. Then you just get out of the way and laugh. So the boys supposedly get more spiritual and more spiritually attuned in order to be able to go into this cave and fully appreciate it. I'm sorry, but my idea of fully appreciating the paranormal does not include hallucinogens, so things get really, really freaky. So then the boys go to the canyon and find that somebody had been there before them, putting out torches along the wall, which they thought might have been indicative of a ceremony, and as far as I could tell, was actually more indicative of somebody going in there and wanting to explore the cave. Because if you want to mark the walls as you're going through, you take the torch and you shove the oil-soaked torch against the wall and scrape off a bit of the tar so that you can actually mark the path that you're taking so you can get the hell back out. But Zach is never one to actually see demons where they're demons, you know, and ghosts where there's ghosts. Everything's, look, mama, it's demons. And so everything for him is demonic. The aura of the land in that area was frightening to me. It exuded death. It felt like death. Everything around there was dead and death. And the land soaked up moisture. It felt like it soaked up energy. It felt like it soaked up sound. And even when they went into the cave, sound would not travel very far. And inside of a stone cave, that's not natural. It was not dirt caves. Those were stone. You shout into a stone cave, and it echoes around like crazy. I have been into quite a few of them. One of the things that my mother, unfortunately, did a lot of was, on top of taking us to moors and castles, torture chambers, we went to every underground place you could imagine in England that was famous, and even some that were not so famous. And your voice carries a mile in there. That's part of the problem. It becomes confusing because you don't know which direction the sound's coming from, so you can get turned around and lost real quick. But this place, it didn't reflect any sound. And what they were worried about was this, where the cave narrows. Oh, it looks like a portal. I'm sorry. I'm going to ask Joel. Joel, did you see a portal there?
You know, I'm not sure what it was, but it was weird like that. I understand what they said about the natural archway.
Yeah.
I really couldn't tell, but I felt like there might have been something like in that general area.
Yeah, beyond it.
Yeah, and like it's not just a natural archway, but you can make any threshold a portal.
I didn't want to say it. I wanted them to hear it from you. Okay, because if I say it, they'll go, "Oh, we discussed it beforehand." Nope. And the door, as they went in to the cave, to the big large mouth, that had a skin of energy over it, which I wouldn't call a portal so much as a containment. It felt like a membrane to keep things in until useful, sort of like Saran wrap.
Mm-hmm.
But I noticed that because they went through it twice, and I wasn't paying attention until the second time, and then I ran the recording back. I'm like, oh, it was there. So you go on with
when
your
when they first showed it, and like I was like, didn't somebody go through there? And then, that's what I was thinking, because I was like, half paying attention. At that point, I was like, it's like you said, I had a good chuckle. I was having an issue with their language, but then my wife told me, she was like, you really need to think about it, because more than likely they talk with the Navajo tribe, and they must have felt like it was okay for them to say that. The only thing I could think of is they didn't want the native connotation associated with like the negative events or image associated with their native shamans. So that's what it was like, okay, you can say witchcraft because this is bad and not, Native American rituals or witches instead of shamans. And I was like, that kind of makes sense when you think about it that way. But man, my favorite part of the beginning leading up to it was when he was like, I believe in skinwalkers. And the guy was like, no, because if you did, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing. I was like,
I also wanted you to say that because because that's my point 100%. It's like, I believe in skinwalkers. Bullshit, you haven't seen one of these things.
You could look on his face. You could tell it was like when he talks out one kid was like, I believe I can, or I know I can do that, or I've seen one before. Okay. No, you don't. Because definitely would not be surprised if there was guided in with somebody with an assault rifle. Like I was not surprised. Like when they showed the guy with the assault rifle, I was like, okay, see, this is when you cancel the trip. When you have to be guided in with the guy with the AR saying that, um, yeah, I have this for protection
Yeah, but did you
because
notice
I
he
don't
didn't have
want
the
them to
right?
get that close.
Yeah, but
He's
he
like,
didn't
I don't
have the
want,
right loads. He didn't have the right loads to keep him off.
yeah, well, it doesn't matter, but he was still smart enough to have an AR and not just a machete.
Yeah, that was it. That was the other thing. I've got a machete. What do you have
Just
the machete
saying.
for? It's. I wanted to say to Zach, it's like, what do you have the machete for? And he says, oh, that's to protect me. It's like, no. It's so the Skinwalker can pick its teeth afterwards after it's had you. That's
I'm
just you're just
glad.
giving him a courtesy toothpick.
Yeah, I'm glad he brought the cutlery for the Skinwalker to have a meal. So yeah, it was definitely pretty interesting, and it was just like they didn't even get out to the canyon. They couldn't even get out to the canyon because of the Ghostbuster herb that she gave them, which that's what it was. That's what it was for. It was so when they get out there, they were into it, and they even said, "I felt the connection with." Yes, that's right. That's what how that was used. However, you couldn't make it out there before it could use it. 4 hours later, that's when they started. I was like, totally missed out on a whole experience that was supposed to happen, and I guess in a way it's for the best that they didn't get out there with it.
Can you imagine what they would have done if they'd seen it? If they
Oh my gosh.
if they'd gone out there and they were in tune. See, there are certain and we're not going to lie about this. There are herbs and things that people use as a shortcut, and they lean on it in order to be able to help to see things. I mean, you've got people who will use mushrooms, and they will use peyote, and they will use other hallucinogens in order to free their mind enough so that they don't have to use talents, skills, or gifts in order to be able to reach beyond and see and feel these things. People like ourselves, we wouldn't use the darn things because if there's too much administered, you tend to spend more time watching the thing than actually acting on what you're seeing. And these guys were supposed to go out there so that they could basically feel more and see more, because they're on the cusp. With a little nudge, they actually might start being able to see things properly. And her blessing was in order to help them, and they just sort of, all they went out there with was the blessing and not with the ability to see, because peyote doesn't last that long. Sorry.
I think Jay and Nick.
Not Nick, Billy. Jay and Billy. Nick's off the show.
Jay.
It's Jay Wasley, Billy Tolley, Aaron Goodwin, and Zach Bagans.
Sorry, Aaron. I was. I think Jay and Aaron. Like, okay, I feel bad for Aaron in the second episode, and for Jay as well, because fucking Nick.
Not Nick.
Like,
Zach.
Sorry, Zach. I feel Zach knows that, and that's why he puts them out there. He knows that they have become sensitive,
and they're red shirts
to it. And yeah, yes, fucking yes.
He puts them out. He dangles them out there like bait. He knows that they're going to go after him. He knows every time.
Oh my gosh.
Billy's getting sensitive enough that it really is becoming dangerous for him. But Jay is like a magnet, because he's probably fiddled around with stuff. He was the one when they went to the Goatman bridge thing, did that stupid ritual and made things so much worse for his wife. Oh my God, she left the show, right? That was a bad idea, right? Yeah. In and of itself. It's like, no, I'm back home, right, watching this going, no, Jay, don't stop, murder, police. I feel like Willy Wonka.
You remember the first thing I said when I heard about the episodes?
No, because it's been busy since. But go ahead, say it.
The first thing I think I texted you when you told me about the episodes were, Oh, it sounds like somebody's
So
gonna
he's
come
getting
back
his,
with
with an
something.
attachment. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
So
glad it's not me. Because fuck this. No. I have a pocket full of no's on a lot of this right here. Like I just yeah,
the
that
danger
just sounds
involved with going
all
to these
bad.
places, yeah, the danger. Okay, first of all, going to the to where the Pueblo people used to live. There's a saying that it's dangerous. I've never felt anything negative from any of the pictures I've ever seen or when I was close to them. The Pueblo people were probably about as ancient as the Naua who lived in the Tashbe Valley north of here before the Paiute came in and took over. And I've never had a negative feeling from them. They were much closer to the land folk. It's the people that came afterwards that wanted to try and recapture Old Glory that seemed to be the ones who created this craziness and became a part of this. And so those are those folk will tend to follow whatever it is that they can drain for energy or whatever it is they can reach out and grab to eat, because that's what they do. There are tons and tons of people that talk about, especially in the Navajo. They actually specifically don't talk to each other about this. They won't even mention Skinwalker. But if somebody goes missing, or if livestock goes missing, or an animal goes missing, whatever, right? There's no sign ever found of them, and they know they didn't leave the res or whatever. They know what it is. They literally know what happened to them. They know where the person went, because they went, or the creature or the animals or whatever went right down the gullet of a skinwalker. That's why you don't
Yeah,
find anything, not even bones. They don't just stop snacking because they hit the crunchy bits.
yeah. It was I yeah, when they went around a corner and Zach was like, why can't they hear me? And they couldn't find them, and they came out of their confused and stuff. Yeah, I was like, yeah, this is why you don't go exploring in places like that. You That's why you have a tow line. You want to be connected, but then again, you really don't want to be connected because
If they grab
just like
one
if
of
you
you,
was
they're going to
climbing a
grab all of you.
mountain, exactly,
I don't know if anybody's ever
exactly,
seen it, but the original Rodan movie. Do you remember how they went down there into the underbelly to go look for They were looking for why these guys hadn't come back, and they were tied to each other, and those giant caterpillars grabbed them, and then they snacked on each one of them because they were all tied
yeah,
together. Yeah, that's the reason why. That every time I think about that, that's what I think of. Call me
yeah,
an old
yeah, yeah,
kaiju enthusiast, but that's exactly what I think about. It's like, don't tie
yeah,
yourself to me, because I'm not going to be able to hold on to this line when you're being snacked on by the monster.
yeah. It was definitely like I was like, okay, so I knew like when they was gonna come back, and I was like, okay, so they really are considering coming back to this at night. They're idiots. And then when I saw, oh my gosh, freaking mirrors, and the dude was calling for, you could use this as a portal. Okay, first of all, they know. Let's not invite them. It's like the old Looney Tunes show when we're like the one is trying to lure somebody else there with the eat me sign. That's what it seemed like. It was like almost like, so what are you going to do if something does come through? And then they start to have the energy fluctuations. And the guy was like looking at, he picks up, he was like, is this a fingernail? I don't know if it was I couldn't tell what it was because of the light situation.
Yeah,
When I first saw it, I thought it was like, it kind of looked like a claw.
yeah, that too. It looked like a snapped off foreclaw on a very small cat or a dog.
Exactly. And they have found that what looked like a cat skull in the fire
Yeah,
out there. And so, and as soon as he picked it up, that's when some real strange stuff started happening with the equipment and stuff, and they started to see things. I was like, okay, you're telling Zach not to touch it,
And he's
Yeah,
picking it
you
up.
find something on the ground and you pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, way to go. And it makes you wonder, did he take that out? Like, because they would probably like, look, we found evidence of this. Let's see what it is. Okay, no, let's not.
Yeah, if you want to make
That's how you
yourself a
get
part
the
of a ritual,
patch.
if you want to make yourself a de facto part of a ritual that has happened in past, pick up, mess with, or fiddle around with the markings, the accoutrement, the any of that stuff, any of the things that go into it. You'll make yourself a peripheral part of it. And if the person who did whatever they were doing there got nailed by a skinwalker, okay, the reason why I'm saying this is because it's a really good chance that if there was a ritual done, and the reason why they saw nobody, and there was one bullet casing gone, but no gun there,
In a bullet hole.
at a bullet hole, okay, the monster's been fed. That's the reason why you guys are alive. There's somebody came out there and they decided to tempt fate, and they got eaten. Okay, that's why Zach and the others were like, yeah, I'm too full. Come back tomorrow when I can burp this this guy up. So if that was what was going on, you had, because I'm betting somebody's like, oh, those freaking Ghost Adventure guys, we'll show them. We'll go and do the ritual to summon something, and we'll make sure that it's targeted on them. And of course, this person doesn't know what the hell they're doing, and so shit hits the flippers, and we don't see any sign of this person except for whatever it was he brought in as part of a sacrifice. Nobody actually put that together, especially Zach, who's really fond of jumping to conclusions. I didn't jump to conclusions on that one. I just pieced that one together. So otherwise, Zach would have, yeah, this guy probably died while coming out here. He might have been trying to summon something. Yeah, we should look for evidence of where this guy went. But no, he normally is the guy who jumped there, but didn't even think about traveling along that line of thinking. Because if he did, then it would have made him too scared to go in the cave. And then he would have just sent Aaron all the sooner.
Yeah. The fact that Aaron had to end, he was the only one, and this should tell you something. Aaron was the only one who followed the instruction when he got freaked out. And I was impressed with that. I was like, he was paying attention.
Now refresh everybody's memory on what the instructions were, because we're talking 2 weeks plus ago. Now,
okay, so he was telling him that she was telling them that when you're in there, you start to get scared. You have to pull your presence, your energy back into your skin by real doing the warrior grunt. And he was the only one who did it. He did it a couple of times, and it helped him focus back, but he couldn't reel in that thing already built up. And I think that once that started to kick in, that's when they was really start to tune in on like the group.
Now, keep in mind, this harkens back to some of the other shows where one of the things that we discussed was control your fear, because if not, they will use it, they will eat it, they will grow stronger, they will keep dragging out more of it from you, and they will come and get you. This is actually the show that you missed, Joel. I wanted to go over it at length about controlling your fear too, and sure enough, right after I discussed it, they go and have an episode where that's really important. It's really important.
Yeah, and the one thing about it is after that kind of inks out, and they get that, they'll start to play on it and get to the point where you lose yourself, and it makes it easier for you not to pay attention. I guess the easiest way to think about it is when you think about Blair Witch, and that's how they was using that fear to help get them confused and turned around, which causes more fear, which causes more mistakes, which causes you to fall off a cliff. Because let's face it, why would I want to spend my energy chasing you down a whole bunch when I could just follow behind you while you freak out and you fall down a cliff and kill yourself? I don't want to have to kill you. But if you was to fall down a cliff, that makes you a much easier snack.
Now, also,
stated.
now in one of the other episodes where I was actually discussing this, Pharaoh Wife asked, how do you control your fear? And for me, it was a matter of learning to turn it to concern for other people, and it actually it stops being fear, because I really don't fear for myself. I only worry about other people anymore, and turning it outwards, so that because fear is inwards, courage is turning your fear outwards to make sure that other people have less to fear.
Training is also another good way to do it, but that's not something that I think that's why, like, your spiritual warriors were also warriors. It's because you had to. That's when you say, for instance, an MMA fighter, that's one of the things that you have to learn to deal with, or a martial artist, you have to learn how to be able to control your emotion, your fears, so when you're being attacked,
respond calmly
focus,
and
you can
levelly.
use it
Yeah, be focused.
Exactly. And I think another reason why she did the ritual and impress upon them that no matter what, that warrior paint will be on you and people would be able to see it. And she tried to impress that on them, that impression was, I think that impression was kind of lost to him, to a sense. It would have been helpful if she would have explained that to him before.
Well, you know
Made a
how Zach
mistake with
seems
her.
to be. He's always in a rush, so it's not like he was probably giving her plenty of time to do the full explanation. Just like, yeah, let's do it.
True, true. But it was, yeah, that was. I'm glad he did that to help himself. If I did it sooner, it might have been a little bit more helpful.
I would.
But
They need to spend more time than just like 48 hours in an area. It's like one day of getting ready and getting all these shots, and then one day of doing the lockdown or whatever. It's pathetically too little, too late. It feels like for instance, like people are going to say, well, how is it I mean, how would you respond to this sort of thing? Well, okay, well, in short, Joel and I have already dealt with something that is on par with a Skinwalker, and amazingly enough, it is the control of fear that actually made it so that it didn't come close to us. It was, I mean, literally on par with it. And if you actually ask some people, nobody knows which one to be afraid of more. And there were times when I would just go and turn my back on the thing and ride my bike through the area where this thing was making its hunting grounds. And that level of I guess I'd say control is absolutely imperative for dealing with things like this properly. You have to have that self-control. And if you think I'm kidding, one of these days we're going to actually sit down and talk about what happened, what Joel and I are what I'm actually inferring about right now. We're actually going to make it a part of a show, because it is one of those things we've been asked about. Specifically, Ginseng actually wants us to discuss. He's got like a whole list of 5 things, and I couldn't discuss one thing, but I'm like, can I do this instead? And I've got experience with that. So this is the one transposition for a subject. So it's not.
which, well, we'll talk about it later off air.
Yeah, it's going to be. So you have to have that level of control, because otherwise you get twisted up, and this thing can just use you until it runs you down and makes you exhausted. And the fact that these guys were dealing with what they were dealing with, that it was already full, is the reason why we still have a Ghost Adventures crew and cameras, etc. I really hope, for their sake, that Aaron becomes very, very experienced and becomes much more knowledgeable about what he's opening up to be able to do, because at some point in time, and I'm going to say it here, he's going to save all their asses. Aaron is going to save all of their asses, and I don't know if it's going to cost his ass to do it, but he is going to save them. And it's he's going to earn the rights of saying, I fucking told you so. I fucking told you so. I fucking told you so to Zach.
Oh, yeah, Jay's going to be in that lineup too with that. I think both of them together are going to, because I noticed that Aaron and Billy kind of pair up, and Zach and Jay kind of pair up. And
You mean Zach and Billy?
what is it? Zach and Billy? Zach and Billy. Yeah.
Yeah. Is Jay and Aaron, Zach and Billy seem to go together. Billy is the short gentleman who actually used to be their audio technician.
Yeah.
He still is their main audio tech.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna pull their asses out of the pan. Just right out the fire. It was just, I just couldn't believe the stuff that they was making them do in some of those episodes and some of the things. I was just like, why would you, you shouldn't be in there. Why are you going in there anyway?
Now, that harkens back to a memory of mine, because while I was watching the part where Aaron's standing there and he's trying to talk and get some EVPs, etc., in that episode with the Skinwalker Canyon, I kept getting this feeling and this flashback. Do you remember when we were at the Gravilla Apartments and you and I were standing together? You were looking one direction and I was looking towards you, and then all of a sudden, a rock came whistling out of that back apartment, and it missed you clean. You weren't even looking at it, and it nearly hit me, and I ducked to one side, and there was nobody back there. It was that same buildup of energy feeling, like something's getting ready to throw, something's getting ready to jump, and I could feel it through the damn recording. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was that same buildup, that same, oh shit, here it comes. You were looking for it. I was looking for it. It's a good thing ghosts have shitty aim. it nearly clipped my ear and it sailed over your left shoulder clean. I'm like, oh wow, that was bad.
Yeah. But let's talk about going out to the canyon. The eyes. Was that before? I think that was. They were all out there when they was looking at the eyes, and they heard whatever the eyes disappeared. They heard whatever they heard.
Yeah. The eyes
were, and they saw it, and then they saw the animal, then humanoid, then it was gone.
Yeah,
and then it was back on the other side. I was like, see,
and that doesn't that hark. And that harkens back to the experience you and I had. Remember, it kept on going from one side of the path to the other. Remember?
Yeah.
It's
See, like, this is time to check out.
That's when I knew they were that this had to be the end of it, or something was going to happen. Either it was gonna walk away after scoping them out there, and they kept getting the eyes on camera, or things were. It was either going to get way worse, or this thing was just going to back out. And it's lucky that it was full and it backed out.
The other thing that I was impressed with, and this is, so, there's particles that can be in more than one place at once. They've discovered this. Can't think of the name of it, but they have figured out
quantum entanglement.
They figured out some things can be in more than one place at once. And the simple fact that they heard the growling at the same time in two different areas would imply that the saran wrap, whatever they was dealing with, was definitely some sort of distortion to be able to be in both those places at one time. It didn't seem like they was dealing with a pack or group of skinwalkers. It seemed like it was one, but when they heard the growl in both places, when they realized that, I don't know if they really put that together. And they kind of mentioned the fact that the quote unquote portal was some sort of distortion, which is why they couldn't find it. And yes, when you're dealing with native lands, Navajo lands, especially like old Pueblo lands, they talk about um, coming out of a hole in the earth through a giant corn stalk that was a portal to the new world. So it makes sense that whatever this is definitely using some sort of portal jumping or some sort of um, wormhole of some sort to be able to do that, to be able to be in more than one place to travel as fast as it can. They, I really believe that they stumbled on something. I really believe that they were pretty lucky. Some of the stuff that they really couldn't have. I don't feel like that what they showed us was any real good evidence. There was some things in there you could say that was good evidence. I don't know what they found when they looked back at it because I'm pretty sure after they're done, they go back and they kind of go through the evidence to see what they found. This is one of those shows that I would like for them to like go back and discuss what evidence they found and not just the evidence that they showed us, but the rest of the evidence that they found
That's the
or some of the
aftershocks
more
show.
unexplained things.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah, I
aftershock
would
show.
this would be a good aftershock. This would be a good aftershock show.
They need to do more of
I
those
think.
because they're too cursory. They're just way too cursory. They don't go in depth as much as they should.
Yeah. Um,
Because realistically, this
but
is a
when
show that is a live. It's a shot. It's a show that's shot live and recorded and then given to us, right? And there is a show behind the show, which is how they set up, how they decide. If you ever watch their live show, you get to see some of the behind the scenes stuff that makes that allow them able to make decisions about here's they got should go over here. Oh, I heard something about this. We discuss this legend and stuff, and so maybe we should do this. And Aaron usually remembers everything way better than Zach does, and he will remind him of stuff. Do you remember that lady said this, or do you remember that guy said that? And so we should do this, that, and the other thing. And so he's much
yeah,
better at it than they are.
and that's his level of attunement too,
Mm-hmm.
because when he's hearing it, his well his intuition,
His
is telling
insight.
him
Yeah, pay attention.
is reminding him as he's doing things. He's getting those cues, and he's like, "Oh, have a twinge about this. I had a feeling when she said this, so I'm gonna remember this." And then when you get out there, it's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, this I had a strong feeling about this. We should go here. We should do this." Um, yeah, exactly. The one thing I that distortion. Let's talk about that distortion when Zach goes around that bluff and he can't move. And then they describe the feeling of the energy as a vibration. I am so happy that they said that because people ask me about things, about how I feel things. And Sean, how do I feel things?
Vibrations.
I feel vibrations. And that, when he was like, "Do you feel that?" He starts shaking his hand. It feels like, it's like, yeah, it's like a vibration. And he was,
And
that
to me, when he got to
is,
that part, it sounded to me like somebody had a very low and a very high tuning fork going at the same time.
yeah, he is very lucky. It's like you said, it must have been full.
Yeah, because otherwise it was like, yeah, you're too close to the larder. I don't think I can let you go that easy. Oh, okay, well we'll just let him go for now. But it was when
Yeah,
he started getting caught in that, it was like watching somebody try to walk you through mud, and then he just sort of ground to a halt. And that happens a lot to him because he can easily be siphoned. In fact, in the next episode, it happens to him again. And he loses time, not just a little bit, but it's almost like somebody knocked his ass out. And the effect was like when you get cold cocked.
Yeah, he did say that. And he's like lucky Billy was there for him. Because I think like if there was a camera set up and he did that by himself, I think we would have had a whole different Ghost Adventurer story than what we did. Because these things are smart enough to know like they don't want to be seen. And if they can't easily get the both of them, then it's not going to do it. If they feel like one is going to be able to
get away,
count, it's not going to happen. And if they had like some sort of IR camera or something set up and Billy wasn't there, there would have been a real good chance of getting that footage, because it's like I said, that light came down and that energy kind of flowed right along with it. That right there, oh boy. I was like, no, thank you. There are some places that you will never catch me.
That's someplace we would never even be.
Skinwalker Canyon.
I'm curious as to who they bought off to get in there. Seriously, because the Navajo people take that very seriously. They take it ridiculous. They don't even say Skinwalker if they can avoid it. They're not even allowed to discuss it with other people because talking about it, they believe will bring them to you.
Well, you heard that's what the guy said at the beginning. Okay, so when you get onto anybody's land and you look and they're like, nobody goes in there, and you drive up to it and you see it physically barriered, and they said, don't go in there, there's unexplained stuff in there. You should listen to the locals. That's a good idea. That's a great idea. Don't go in there. Bad stuff happens in there. Hey, guess what we're not doing for a tourist attraction this year?
And that comes back
to in there.
That comes back to what Jeff was talking about, right? It's the natives tell people not to do certain things, and they just blow them off. And they built that place where he used to live up in up by the lake, right? That's someplace. I even if you don't go, I've got a date with Destiny up there. I've got to clean the place if I can, or do something to stop it being so dangerous. But that was a place that was known to be sick land to the native. Was it not Shoshone? Was it Shoshone? What?
Yeah,
no, Blackfeet. It's Blackfeet because there's the Shoshone are to the south, Blackfeet are to the north, and then there was the bar starts with a B. Oh, darn it! I can't remember what. I'm gonna have to look it up. Starts with a B. That native tribe. It was actually side by side with the Shoshone in southern Idaho, but it was the Blackfeet in northern Idaho that were saying, "Don't go around this place. That the lake is dangerous. Things don't live there safely. Animals die around there. People in settlements we used to have up there just disappeared, and so they won't even discuss it with Jeff. They wouldn't even talk about it with Jeff because it's so dangerous and it's so problematic there. They won't even discuss it. They're very, very sensitive about it because they figure anything they say is going to end up attracting, and this is true, attracting the wrong kind of person to go there. Which, case in point, that episode of Ghost Adventures. You got some crazy white people who want to go and tempt the devil, and they did. But all in the name of collecting evidence. They came back alive until they don't, right? So it's that kind of thing. You're getting told don't do X, and you want to thrill seek and find what happens when you go and poke the tiger. So that brings us to episode 8, which is called the Upper Frutiland Curse. which I believe they went from Arizona on the Navajo res to northern, was it New Mexico? I think it's northern New Mexico instead of northern Arizona. So basically crossing the Four Corners border to the east and dealing with farmland, which I believe is on the extended reservation for the Navajo that this one family lives on. And from the very beginning, just looking at the land reminded me of helping Jeff once again with the property where he's living at now. It's exactly the same kind of negative vibration. However, this family doesn't have a dog in the fight. There's no guardian for that land. And if there was, and this thing used to be it hates everybody there. Crops won't grow, animals die, people get scared. There's horrible nightmares, sounds that they can't explain. If Jeff was on this show, he'd be saying exactly the same thing as he was saying. Sounds exactly like what happened to him before I went there and did what I had to do. This place has, on the order of magnitude, probably about half of what Jeff had to deal with. But that is not even, I mean, that's not saying that it's more fun because it's less dangerous. It isn't. This family has been run ragged by it, and this thing can phase in and out of reality. It can menace the family because they're all spiritually active. That's the reason why it's hanging around, because it can soak them of their energy, and it's simply not going to let them go. I'm going to jump to the end a little bit. At the end of this show, Zach said, now we can bring in people who are specialists to clear this sort of thing out. It's like, yeah, like me, like Joel. You guys didn't even need to go there. We could have just skipped to the end. You guys are just there because you wanted to catch some crap on camera. And the stuff that they did get on camera was staggering. Absolutely staggering.
My wife, who's skeptic, which is pretty impressive because she's pretty damn good empath, can be prophetic at times, like most of the times. She was watching it. She had to go to work real fast for some reason. She's supposed to work on Fridays. She comes back. I'm still awake watching the shows. I should be asleep. And she's looking, and they showed the footage of the thing walking around the field out in the back. She didn't even see the footage that the son picked up where he just like fades in out of the shadow and then darts around the corner. She didn't even see that. She saw the other one where it's just like kind of meandering out in the field, and you can see it phase from one spot and then phase back in, like, I don't know, look like about a good 15 yards from where it disappeared. And just kind of stroll through the, tiptoeing through the tulips like it's normal. Okay. She was like, what the hell is that? I was like, yeah, exactly. You should watch this episode from the beginning. That land, I don't know what is going on with that land. Well, yeah, I do. It's native land. Let's start there.
From what I can tell,
graves. They said there was graves on either side. That's
throughout the whole thing. It's all graves, but that in and of itself wouldn't make the place dangerous. It's something else that must have happened to turn the energy on its head and make it negative. Something had to have happened there, and something we don't know. But I can tell you that the land is very near a ley line, because things like this can't keep themselves hidden when they're near ley lines. They try to, and they end up popping in and out of existence, and they come there to feed and then leave. And so this family is in the way of this thing eating. It's not there to eat them. They're just fun. They're shits and giggles. That's what they are. They're just shits and giggles in the in-between time. And it's been enjoying killing their chickens, killing their dogs, killing their horses. It's working its way up. Okay, that's truth. It started off with the small creatures, and it's working its way up, and it's having a great goddamn time eliminating these things and going, ha ha ha, what you gonna do now?
Yeah, I found it interesting that once they became, um, when it was starting to get active, like the amounts of cats that walked up to
Yeah,
the, I think, like they showed it outside. It was
yeah.
like all of a sudden, four cats out there. I'm like, what the
And
hell?
now
And it's weird because, like, I don't know, like
the
it
Navajo
must. I'm not.
actually are one of the few of the native tribes that actually adopted the cats and really really loved Oriental cats, because that's what cats are. They're from the Orient. Okay, don't get pissy at me. Egyptian Maus are from Africa, and these are from the Orient. So we refer to them as Oriental cats. They love them because they recognize that they are anti-evil and anti-dark spirit. And the Navajo, more than any other tribe in the United States, there's stories about it. Okay, so they revere cat like crazy. And those four cats came up because, oh look, the shit's hitting the fan inside the building. We want to get in there and get to it.
Yeah, and that was the thing. It was like it was trying to corral it, and I'm trying to remember because that's when they
That's when
started.
Zach lost his time. When he went in there and it was like, bada bing, I've lost time. And then Aaron went in there right afterwards and he was talking to the thing. And then they all clustered outside to protect Aaron because screw Zach. Aaron's the one we're worried
Yeah.
about. They were saying, when you went in there, all those cats suddenly started showing up when you started hearing the EVPs. It's like, yeah, don't doubt it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, that I don't even know where to start on this one.
Well,
Let's.
let's start with when the mom and let's actually go back to the when the thing started affecting the family, when they were living in the trailer before the house was built up. And by the way, that house isn't finished. I'm not sure. I guess the people must have left. I don't know if anybody else noticed, but if you go back and watch this thing, that house is not done. I don't think it's on a reservation, but the house isn't done. Like whatever people were constructing the place said, screw this. There's stuff going on as we're banging around trying to build up these walls and stuff. I'm getting the hell out of here. So the family, when they used to live in the trailer as the house was being built in its originality, I think it was the eldest son had a dream where the thing climbs on top of him and it has no face because it's like a smear. And they said, oh, it was like it was shaking his head. And no, not like it was shaking his head. It's like its face was a smear. It didn't have a real face. The closest thing you could get on camera that would look to it is like when you see, like in Jacob's Ladder, when they're doing the high-speed head shaking so that the features blur. And it was actually holding him down. Now, I was at first thinking maybe this was a sleep paralysis event, but the guy was actually able to look around. When you have sleep paralysis, you can't even move your eyes. It was holding him down, and he was able to move his head a little. So this thing has the ability to take on forms, and it has decided that it likes one particular look. And even the neighbors' kids in the area and the neighbors down the road across the street have seen the same thing. Kid or something kid-sized, dressed in plaid, so
No
like
face.
jeans, no face. So this thing wanders, and this is the reason why these things are dangerous, because they're going to menace whatever it is that's hunkered over the ley line access. And that's why Jeff was dealing with that kind of thing on his property in Idaho. But this is the same kind of damn thing here.
That will follow you home. This thing will follow you home. This thing likes to follow people home.
And it has no real limitation. It has no limitation for distance. It can go anywhere. It can go anywhere that it can get enough energy, and it will follow your ass. If you live down the street, it will go with you. Okay. So you got to remember that it will, these things, if you start poking the hornet's nest, especially ones that are like this, they will follow you just because it's shits and giggles to make your life hell.
I like the fact that I don't believe in this episode I heard this is a time that you could prove that you exist. Do something to me so I know that you're here. They're learning. They are the Coast Adventurers crew is evolving. It doesn't mean that something's not going to follow home. It does not mean that they did not get that whatever that was. Let's call it let's call it let's call it the unseen one because we don't know it has no face. Let's call it the nameless one or the unseen one. This is probably fitting for this. Um, it's not saying that it didn't like what Aaron and Jay's energy felt like, because I think it did. And I have a feeling
Oh
that they're
yeah.
going to be taught. I have a feeling at some later time, one of the things they're going to say, or an interview, somebody's going to say something, and they're going to be like, yes, one day I was at home and something was on my chest without a face, and it was a little kid in plaid. I will not be surprised if that ever came up in a conversation.
Or in one of the aftershocks.
Yeah, it's I would be more surprised if if they didn't say that. This thing was like the Wild Wild West. This thing was down. It was up to get down.
And so some of the key events were when the mother actually heard the thing make that noise. Okay, that actually sent a chill down my spine. The noise that it made on when they were trying to get information out of it, and it was rather like a yowl.
Yeah,
And she
and
recognized it. She recognized it from when she was younger. So guess what, folks? This thing's been following mom.
and the other thing is, I really wish they would have explained it a little bit, like what it was. They didn't really talk to her, but I have a feeling not so much that they didn't talk to her about it. It might have been more of an unwillingness for her to speak of it. It was that significant. Like when I heard that, I like got chills, and then she got up and she walked away, and to hear
Praying.
something
She walked away
to
praying.
get that was just getting there to hear something to make you get up and start talking to God right away, like unexplained, didn't say excuse me to anybody and leave her guests, and it was just like boop, done. Gonna go pray now. I'm surprised she didn't go to a church right then or burn some
Seriously,
sage.
she's Native American. I would have gone and found the local medicine man, because that's what, eventually Zach was going to be doing. It's like, how many thousands of dollars do I have to throw at this problem so that you can find people that will make it go away? Because we were so far in over our heads, we were suffering nosebleeds. Okay, that was how bad it came across. They, at the end, it ran their asses off. That's the truth.
The instant sleep of Aaron, like I got to sleep. Like he couldn't even open up his eyes. He was so messed up.
He said, I can't even feel my lips. Do you know what that is? That's a radical drop in blood pressure, folks. I can't feel my lips. That's your blood pressure just dropped so bad, you're rubber-legged. Okay? We're talking like 60 over 40, and he's about to go south. So Joel just muted himself. So the nurse can't back me up on this. He's AFK. But yeah, Aaron couldn't feel
yes,
his.
yes, yes.
That he actually got out of there. That's balls. He's like, screw this. I'm not fainting in here. If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna do it in the car where this thing's gonna have to work to get me.
It didn't, and it wouldn't have to work that hard as they showed when they were out there, and it was banging along on the car.
And they couldn't see Jack. And they even were admitting, oh, ghosts usually don't appear under IR. It's like, then why are you making us have to stare through it, you asses? I've been saying it for you. I cannot see ghosts in infrared. They don't appear in infrared. I need, but they pull out the full spectrum camera. Oh, and you can see it all, baby, because that all comes in, whether it's infrared, regular light. Then you're just basically painting the night with stars, and I can see it all. And what did they capture when they started doing that? They caught everything, including the thing. What was it? Gating out of that ring as a quadrupedal beast, and then running like a track star and transforming to human shape and disappearing towards the trailer.
Yeah.
Okay, that was probably the most compelling piece of holy shit. Let's get somebody that's an expert here now. Evidence.
Yeah.
It was brutal. It was unavoidable. It was scary. It was luck. I was so glad they finally got that on camera, because that kind of thing, that's the kind of thing Joel and I have seen. Really, you see stuff doing stuff like that, and I'm like, yeah, Joel, did you see it? Yeah, I saw that too. Okay, and we're both tracking it as it moves.
Yeah,
and it's the kind of stuff that will make you shit white chocolate bars.
Yeah. Yeah. The oh man. Okay, so when he sent him in a crawl space.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
There was a lot of no going on right there. So
when they were doing the probing, no, back up a little bit, because the whole point for when he went under into the crawl space was because they were using that geomagnetic thing to be able to read what was coming from the land. And when they got out to where the ley line was, it changed by like, what was it, 8 milligauss or something like that. And then when he gets into the house, he has the same kind of change, because apparently that's where the points cross, and he's right there on top of it in the middle of Spook Central. Sorry, go ahead now.
Okay, so like that was after. Was that after? That was after they heard the chair move.
Yeah, that was after it threw the chair out from the seated spot while they were doing stuff.
Yeah, so
scooted back 2 feet, I think it was.
I'm thinking this is Zach telling me to go in the crawl space while I'm gonna go back out in the car. Fuck you, you get in the crawl space. That's my response to that. And the simple fact that he went down there and he left the cover to the crawl space that close to the crawl space was not the best idea.
And this thing,
when it fell, the first thing I was waiting for it to see it go cover up the crawl space.
Yeah. That was
waiting.
Now that you got to remember that this thing was really quite far away, set up in such a fashion that it was leaning back against a surface. Okay, we're talking at probably about a 15-degree angle. Okay, and this thing got thrown. It didn't just get nudged over; it got thrown, so it slammed down and slid. And I swear to God, I thought it was going to move all the way over and completely cover up the crawl space. Like, Billy, you're one of ours now.
Yeah, and I whatever was down there with them was not cool. That growl.
Yeah.
Melody thought that it could be like a raccoon or something, but it would sound too.
That's not what I concluded, Joel.
Oh, never mind. I have to retract that. She just informed me that that's not what she concluded. But like when you heard that growl, that loud, low growl, I was like,
yeah, like that.
Done. That's when you tug the line to have your friends pull you out. Oh, wait a second. He didn't have a line for us.
No, that's the other problem. There was nothing stopping if that ghost had generated enough energy to be able to slam the thing down. I think it just wanted to see him run. So it growled and then slammed the thing down, and it wanted to see him run his ass out of there, pop up out of the hole so it could gain his energy from running in fear. It really wanted him to run in fear. I think they learned from what the shaman, the medicine woman, said in the previous episode about don't run, and they took it to heart, at least to a degree. Because was it Jay? Yeah, Jay is short enough that he'd be like myself in that crawl space, so it wouldn't be that bad. Now, if you stuck gangly Zach down there, he'd have troubles. But Jay could have crawled on his stomach and then popped up and dashed out of there quick. But back to the stuff in the all the recordings that they got in the trailer. That the fact that they were getting them like on command, and then even where they got on the SLS camera, the structured light system, they got things appearing. once again, we're back to that moment when that I describe as when the poltergeist threw the rock at Joel and myself. Before those things showed up on the SLS camera, got the same build-up feeling, and it feels like you could feel the building up, and then boom, boom, there they were.
Yeah.
So totally wish that there was a straight camera or a full spectrum camera there, because there was nothing to see, and the only thing that I could tell you that I could see, because you can't hide background count on infrared. The whole place was filled at first with just a general amount of energy. And then every time this thing did its shit, every time, the background count, the aura that you could get from inside the place was like somebody was filling it up with a smoke machine. Especially at the corners of the window of the screen when you're looking at the corners, you can see it's like smoky, and then it would go all the way through like you were looking through a haze every time the thing manifested, which meant to me that it was making sure that it was between them and the and the way out, which is why Aaron dashed the hell out of there at the end the way he did, and got worse on the trip as he was running.
Oh man. When they sent Aaron in there, I felt so bad for Aaron when he was like, "You're an experiment." Oh, I've been like, "You're an asshole. I quit."
If he's not making like 200,000 a year, my minimum to deal with this level of garbage, because we're not in this for the thrills, would be at least $250,000. So like in 4 years, I can go, I'm a millionaire. Up yours, Zach. I'm not going to be your boy anymore, because you're using me like I'm a freaking worm on a hook.
Yeah, he was like, "No, I'm not going back there." And then I don't even know. I don't even know how. I don't know. It was like, "No, I'm not going back there." Okay, what the fuck just happened? That's what went through my head. I was like, okay, that's not smart. And he came in there and he was like, "I felt you here." And when he felt the vibration, I couldn't figure out what was going on. And then he started to run out. Notice he didn't discuss what he seen when he turned around and ran out, and he stopped, fell back, and turned around and went back in, because he saw something, or whatever he saw was like, I don't know if he saw something there or if the environment had changed for him. And when you're dealing with this kind of stuff, and this is like that fear thing where I was talking about, they can make things, the area's alive, and it will react with it.
You're breaking up electronically. Hold on. Let it settle down. Okay, give it another try.
Okay.
Now it's clear.
The area is alive, and when there's entities that are otherworldly, that are used to energy, they know how to use that in their advantage to make things change, so they can project an image that they want you to see to help confuse you so you get lost. And I'm not sure if that's what it was, or if he saw something, or a combination of the two, because I have a feeling he saw a combination of two. First, he saw it, and then in that instant, when it realized he could see him, and he wanted to keep him there, instead of having him just run past him, it made it look like that was not a way out, and he was going to have to find a different way out. Like, it changed that to like a wall.
See, and that's the question, because all we can get it for the most part is when they do that kind of thought form illusion. We can only pick up that the background count has been altered drastically, or that different shapes are being put in place, but we can't see them because it's once again in for freaking red. And that's what I really hate.
And so, you know,
you can't really expound upon supposition, is what I'm trying to say. Is we suppose what this could have been going on, and they never discuss it. And this is more shit for what they should be doing in Aftershocks, so they should put in the real show. Because here's another thing: where'd the cats go? Because when he ran out, the cats, I think, followed him to the caravan, And when that thing was beaten on the outside of the caravan, remember they were showing the outside shots, no freaking cats.
Yeah. And my thing is, it's like, okay, so what happened? Why did he not discuss this? Because, a lot of times he's on camera and he talked about it. I'm pretty sure they omitted that. I'm pretty sure something happened. And I'm pretty sure there were some words like transpired because after you get put, if somebody puts you in harm's way and some fucked up shit happen, you're not gonna just be like, "Oh, dude, that was scary as hell." No, you're gonna be like, "You know what, Zach? Fuck you, fuck your family, fuck the horse that rode in on you, fuck it all. You could take this, shove it up your ass. I'm done." There had to have been something like that happen that they did not want to air because that you could look on his face. That look on his face, if you've never seen the look of sheer terror, that's what the fuck he had on his face. That so I don't know, some of you know, I used to work as in the psych ward, and when some of our patients would have audio and visual hallucination together, and they seen something that they thought was there that wasn't there, that was really scary. I've seen that look on patients' face. I know what like crippling terror looks like. And that was fucking it. That was not faked. That shit right there, not good. Not cool at fucking all. I'm pretty sure I made that face a couple of times where
Oh
my
yeah.
sphincter squeezed up, and I'm pretty sure I vapor locked myself. I thought I was going to turn into a singularity because I was so scared that my asshole just sucked up all the air, and I thought I was going to like implode on myself. That's the
Now,
face he made.
now, just to ease up the fact that Joel's expounding so heavily, like you'd think that he was chicken. No, okay. One of the situations I'd actually spoken with Aisha about this, like when we were running from an event, and I don't run anywhere near as fast as Joel, whose legs are longer, and he looked back to see me. Okay, and the look on his face was like Aaron's, because he was looking past my shoulder. And you still haven't told me what the fuck this was. And Joel reaches back with his hand, grabs my hand, and then does what's called an Irish whip and pulls me out of the way. And that was when something raked my back. And it was almost the same intensity as standing up into, like trying to duck under barbed wire is what it felt like, and it catches you across my back. And you still haven't told me what the hell you saw. You said, no, not telling you. And I remember the feeling because I only got one rake, right? It could have been 3, but I got that one, and it raised blood on my back. To this day, I can still remember exactly where it is over my right shoulder blade where I got hit. But just so you don't think Joel was...
Whatever it is, I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I erased that from my memory.
Okay, because I've been waiting a long time for you to get the courage and you don't remember. It was when we were... Okay. Off camera, I'll do my best to see if I can't help you remember it. You don't remember. You don't remember Irish whipping me out of the way from something.
I do remember grabbing you. I have a faint memory of grabbing you at one time and trying to move you out of the way of something. But I fucking don't know what it was. I don't remember all of it. Like I remember a lot of shit from the past that we've had to deal with. There's some things that, for some reason, are not there. Traumatic. Decided that it was best to rewrite my memory, I guess. Fucking don't know. There's a couple times.
Well, because the look on your face was akin, and this is when you were first, growing in that goatee before you went into the Air Force. And it reminded, it was the look on Aaron's face when he was in that back room and he turns to the camera and his jaw drops. It was because he turns, his head turns and he's looking at the camera. It was the same kind of look it was on your face in that one moment.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It was the same severity of holy shit. Okay. The only difference was you didn't turn anywhere near as white as Aaron. And it was dark.
Yeah.
And it was in the dark. But the look was the same, the same oh my God, it's like you could have been turning and looking at a tsunami, and the oh my God, we're fucked look was right there. That was the same kind of thing. So that no, Joel's not. He's not easily scared. I've seen him, stare down crap with me while we're just standing together while things were circling us like hyenas. So it's not that he's easily frightened. We're neither of us easily frightened. Although I'm pretty sure from a lot of the cautionary statements we're giving you, it can seem like, oh, you guys are just a pair of pussies. Nah, you don't get to call us that. You don't get.
I like my life the way it is.
Yeah, we've gotten to the point now where we avoid the danger, but it still comes our way. We're better able to deal with it than we were when we were younger, but we don't go and whack the hornet's nest anymore because it doesn't pay. And if you think you can't learn without doing the crazy, stupid shit that we did to learn, trust me, you're wrong. Because I have two boys that are learning at a faster pace than I learned at that rate. Okay, we're talking, if I'm Goku, both my sons are Gohan and Goten, and they're way in front of me because the youngest one's already going Super Saiyan. Okay. Best description I can give you. Okay. The best way to describe it. And you know what? I just realized something. They're actually the correct ages. Trevor's 16 and Eric's 6. They're literally at the correct ages for the part of Dragon Ball Z Kai we're watching.
Oh my God.
I didn't even realize that. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is so funny and bad. Oh my God. Anyway, but it's the truth. You can, in a very safe environment, you can get all the experience you need. You can learn how to avoid this stuff, and you can teach the kids so that they don't have to go through the meat grinder that Joel and I dealt with. Swear to God, no need for the meat grinder. It's okay. You don't need to throw the kids to the wolves and see if they survive. Doesn't usually work out too well. Okay, living in the jungle, you have to make a lot of shortcuts. And that usually doesn't mean you don't get as good as you could be if you have a more intense and better study teacher. So it works out better that way.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was like, I really, if I had a chance to meet the crew, that would be my one question. And I'll guarantee you, he would probably say the same thing that I just did. I don't remember what it was. Must have blocked it from my memory. Because whatever it was not right that he saw. And I'm pretty sure he got a good look at the faceless one.
And Zach almost did as well. Remember, they were in the house and they saw the spheres darting around and stuff like that, like something was being chased around, and then the shadows, and then the response. Oh, that whatever would happen in the house in the hallway blew away the feeling of what Aaron was going through in the trailer. In fact, it was so strong that before it happened, once again, that same here, the poltergeist through the rocket, Joel and Sean event, no, it was way worse. The hackles on the back of my neck were up and I felt it. And then Zach ducks because the spheres, basically charged past him and then into the ceiling, and it freaked him out. And Jay also ducking for cover. And then the chair moved. So yeah, and Zach can't see anything. So how wonderful is it that it wasn't Aaron in the house at that time? Because
you know why? Because Aaron was fucking done. Aaron was done. That was after he was done.
And then the thing was banging on the doors while they were Zach and Jay were inside, and Billy and Aaron are outside, and the thing's banging on the outside of the car as they're getting screwed within the house. Yeah, if you had changed positions so that Billy and Aaron were in the house where Zach and Jay were, the stuff that you would have seen would have had poor Aaron in a mental facility for a couple of days for evaluation. Yeah. He would have had a break, and thank God that the ones that were in place for that. because, you know, like once again, when Zach was in the trailer in that same place where Aaron was seeing stuff and hearing things and got the giggles and the stuff showing up on the SLS and making him run for his life, Zach was just, I just lost time. I'm just gone. And inside the house, this entity not only moved a chair, not only threw down the cover to the crawl space, it pulled back and hooked a curtain. Okay. The family didn't do that.
I forgot all about that. How could I forget about that? Because there was so much going on in this episode.
Yeah, this episode was a Zach and the Ghost Adventures crew jump into the deep end above their heads and see if they can inhale water. This was so far beyond anything that they've dealt with that I'm just staggered that more crap didn't get on camera. And I'm pretty sure more stuff did. They just had to pare it down so that it would fit into a 42-minute show with commercials for the other 18.
Let's not forget about that. He left a piece of equipment in there. I've never seen Aaron leave a piece of equipment behind.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So fucking fast. He left the spirit box in there. And then when they get in there,
the spirit box is still talking.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. He never leaves anything behind. It's like it's welded to his hand. He would never leave a piece of anything behind so that it could be stolen. I forgot all about that. The man's instincts are to save the equipment, and he literally was overridden.
And notice it is so him and Jay fucking not going back in there for that. Sorry. Or was it Billy? I guess him and Billy didn't go back in there for that shit.
Yeah, there was no way.
Yeah, there was like, sorry, it's your turn.
Yeah, when Billy gets sent somewhere with the SLS camera, when Billy picks up the best stuff with the SLS camera, that was when he went back, and that was when they got the humanoid figure, one without a head, no head, and then they got the one that had the head, and the other thing had its knees bending backwards. And I can honestly say I don't even know how to express if I'd seen somebody do that, if I'd seen a spirit that did that, because that would be really frightening.
I don't really. I've seen something like that, like a distortion of the neck or the limb. For like, I've seen some pretty messed up stuff, but I don't know if I've ever seen anything quite like that.
And am I wrong? Did they actually discuss like a smell? They said they smelled something. I remember the smell coming through before they even said it, like a smell somewhere between. No, I smelled it. That's right. The earth. When they got to the area, I could smell it from the recording. I smelled. Sorry, this just suddenly came back to me because I watched it last Sunday, and I could smell it on the recording. The smell of earth that has died. And anybody who's been around dirt that has become completely infertile and it's got this rotten smell. I don't mean like compost smell, like stuff is rotting. I mean a rotten, nasty smell. Like this, you could pour water on this stuff till doomsday and no seed will ever pop from it because something's gone wrong. The land is just off. And I could smell it. And one of the things I think I remember them saying something about the smell when they got there. Like there was a smell of rotten flesh or something.
That was the Skinwalker. They talked about that in the Skinwalker.
Really? Because I got this smell not like, because I remember them talking about it in the Skinwalker Canyon. There was this like, that was the smell of, and this is interesting because Skinwalkers aren't supposed to smell bad. They're supposed to make funny noises to attract you. And Wendigos are supposed to stink. And that whatever it was that they were around on in the Upper Fruitland curse, there was a smell that came through. And this is why I really like to be able to go to these places, because there's a lot more information that we can get if they actually had a sensitive on the camera. Aaron's sensitive to a degree, but he's not always on camera. They got Billy and Jay on it all the time as well. And they have fixed cameras that are set up. Nobody's behind them that just take static shots. So there's not a whole lot that we can get in on those. But when Aaron's behind the camera, we get quite a bit more. If we could go to these places, there would be smells and tastes and textures and sensations and things that we get from the land crying out that we can't get through these things, which is why we're trying to build up the channel so that at some point in time, if people need us, we can go to them if they need to have somebody present to help. Not an investigation, because an investigation is like, oh, we're going to come in and see if there's a problem. No, you're telling us there's a problem. We're just going to verify that what the problem is and see if the problem is you or if it's not you. That's really what we do. We find out if it's you or not you. If it's not you, then we can deal with the not you problem, which is usually ghosts, entities, demons, creatures, guardians that have lost their purpose, things like that. There's too many for me to name. There's too many possibilities. And I really wish that we could have gone there, because this was one of those things where we could have done more assessment and given more to the camera. Basically, I really wish Amy Allen had gone there.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole episode, and there was so much going on in it where I wish they would have taught. I would have liked to have gotten more history about what the mom had experienced earlier on, since she recognized that sound.
Yeah.
A history about the area would have been nice.
Yeah, they were so cursory about it. They really didn't say very much.
Yeah.
And obviously, while they were plowing the land, they didn't bring up human bones. So if it was a graveyard, and it might have been, it's been so long that the bones are long since become powder.
Yeah, and my thing about it is they called it the Fruitland Curse.
Upper Fruitland Curse.
Upper Fruitland Curse, but they didn't mention a curse at all. So
No.
Why did they call it that? They must have got some sort of information that they feel like it was a curse. That would have been like nice to share with the audience.
So, but in that episode, I was telling everybody there's no such thing as a curse, just crap that stays attached and keeps on messing with you, which is what this is. That's what it is. And it may be following somebody. And that's the generality of a curse. Redefining a curse to be shit that happens to one person and doesn't let go and messes with other people as a matter of having fun. That's what a curse is.
But what I mean, it would have been nice to hear the story behind. There's obviously a lot going on in this area on that land. It would have been nice to hear.
Yeah, not just their land, all the land, because everybody apparently is well experienced with Mrs. Farmer's crazy, growling, faceless frickin' thing that was menacing her children.
Troll.
Yeah, the troll. Because the damn thing was menacing everybody and killing dogs on other people's land and stuff like that. Come on, there's way more we could have heard about this.
Yeah.
In fact,
only one neighbor was like said something about it. I'm pretty sure they consulted more than that. But the fact that only one wanted to go on camera with it speaks volumes about.
Finding out how far this thing ranges could tell you just how dangerous the thing is. If it can go really far from the centralized area that it seems to, please forgive using this term, haunt, that will tell you just what the limits of its energy will be. And if it can go like 100 miles, then that means it has no real limitations. Whatever it is, it's not energy limitations, it's boredom. That it doesn't know what's beyond that 100-mile radius type of thing. Once it goes past a certain point, it will, if it can attach, it will attach. It will create a vibrational attachment and then follow you. And it simply doesn't travel the intervening territory. It'll just go, oh, I stuck this like let's just call it, for the sake of the, like a tracer, like Spidey would throw a spider tracer on somebody so he could trace them later. Only difference is Spider-Man has to travel the distance between where he threw the thing on him but one of these things doesn't have to. Once they tag you with a vibrational tracer, they can just appear there. They can just go right to you. They can just go, oh, look, I touched you before, so I can come right back and touch you again.
Yep.
Which is why we keep telling you, don't mess with Ouija boards. Don't go to hauntings. You never know how strong it's going to be because it can then follow you. You don't know how to keep these things off of you. You haven't got the. We will be able to tell you if you come to the shows. We can teach you how to avoid these things or how to keep them off you once they're attached. But we're not going to tell you these things so you can go and tempt fate. We're not teaching daredevils. We're trying to help people get out of these problems, and we're talking about the ghost adventures because these are the boys are really good at being bad examples of everything. And so we use them because they're really good at being bad examples. We're not telling you about these things because this is designed to titillate and excite. This is so that we can use them as learning experiences for you. So eventually, if you watch the TV and watch the shows, you will start pulling in more information. Even if you aren't gifted, you can see where things are going to go wrong before they go wrong because we're telling you the information and you're hearing it enough times that it will sink in, even if you don't have the metaphysical cues that we get before everything goes pear-shaped.
Yeah.
So enough about Ghost Adventures. How long?
I just want to say that by far, one of my favorite and best episodes ever, and kudos to them because I think they did a good job on it. I just wish they were more intelligent about how they did that one.
Now, in the future, Joel and I hope Joel agrees with this, that we will go to places that are not dangerous to hopefully catch some of the things that we see and give you some of our impressions about some of these things, even if we don't catch ghosts on the camera, because we're not really aiming for that. And that sort of thing comes in where we need you people to listen to our stuff, like, comment, subscribe, refer us to friends. We'll teach you how to use your gifts if you have gifts, so that we can get to these places. And one of the places that I want to go is a place that I had visited before, and I want to go there with Joel. So I know this place is safe. I know it's safe, but it's also pretty intense. It's called La Purisima Mission in Lompoc. It is amazing. The aura is incredible. It is restful. It is beautiful, except for the chapel. I'm not going there again because there was a massacre that happened in there. And so the rest of the building and the grounds actually has a wonderful aura. And it is one of the most interesting places to go to. And I would like to see if we can't capture a few things, including the flute that I heard in the Weaver's room. That was actually beautiful. I thought it was a recording. And so your patronage of this channel is going to allow us to be able to go to these interesting places so that we can show you that the metaphysical isn't always dangerous, because we're never going to put anything high scared, gore, freak out moments. That's not going to happen. We're not going to do that. There are places that the metaphysical have left behind good exposure so that you can bathe in the energy of wonderful moments that are stored in the land. And that's what we want to focus on. And also so that we can get to places where things are kind of dangerous. And those are not going to go on film or camera. We're not going to do any of that stuff. But we will give reports on what occurred. So if you want us to be able to reach out and help people, And if you want us to be able to go to places so that we can visit wonderful places such as that, including, I think there's some lighthouses that are actually pretty amazing. We're going to stay away from the dangerous ones.
I was actually talking about going up to one in Oregon with a nurse buddy of mine. We might be up in Oregon around the same time.
So that's a good one to go to, and have that one if that's one of the good ones to go to, and not one of the scary ones, and go to places that have really good, wonderful, amazing environments and auras and stuff. Even your town, which is on 2 ley lines, which is amazing in and of itself. I really want to go and expose people to that, because that is just a fantastic place. And even up here, I'd like to be able to have Joel come and visit, and we go and explore the Nu'ua ruins of the native people that were here before the Paiute in Tehachapi. Amazing place. In fact, the mountain glows to those who the entire valley is filled with eyes that watch benevolently from these people. It's when Joel traveled through, he says there's lots of people watching. So yeah, we'd like to be able to get this kind of places on camera and on film for you to see, and advise you these are places to go to. I guess you'd say the opposite of Ghost Adventures. Instead of going someplace to scare the shit out of yourself, going someplace to really tap into the vibe that makes you feel like you're a part of this world. Because that's what we all are. We're a part of this world, and we're trying to eliminate the things that want to eliminate that vibe. So now on to that vibe as we segue into Joel went to Hawaii for, what was it, a week?
6 days. Oh my God. I don't know why I came back, especially a little bit heat wave.
You're all electronic. Give it a second. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that 6 days. I was there for 6 days, and to say that the island is alive is probably the largest understatement I could ever make.
Pause for a second. I didn't talk to him to say that. This, you guys will all remember, I said on camera that he was going to say. So now you can actually go back and you will hear, okay, no, we didn't discuss this. Yes, Joel and I are connected in so that it's almost like we share an emotional link. This is so just so that Joel, please back me up.
Yeah. No. This is, we didn't have a discussion about this. When I got back and I had texted, I was like, oh my God, magical experience. And my wife, even to this day, we've been back about a week, and my wife, even we get such a good experience, missed it so much. We both get emotional talking about it, and how much we miss the island because of the fact that the island was alive and welcoming. I was having these experiences where when I start to get too warm, I was like, I wouldn't say anything, but all of a sudden there'll be droplets of moisture, and it's not that humid where the moisture just falls out the air. It's not that humid. It's not like stifling humid. No, this is comfortable. And I would start to get too warm, and all of a sudden water will fall out the air without a cloud in the sky and hit me on my forehead or hit me on the top of my head, hit my shoulders. And I'll be looking around, ask my wife, did you feel that? No, I didn't feel anything. What do you mean you didn't feel anything? She's comfortable. I'm a little bit warm. And I'm like, okay. So The island is cooling me off. Awesome. Reactive to you. Like it's like it takes care of you. The It was amazing. It smelled of flowers and ocean breeze. I can't even describe the birds. Like I've never heard so many birds, and you see all these different birds. Uh, the the trees, the flowers. It was amazing. So many different flowers. Some of them were the same flowers, just different colors.
Quick
And it
interjection.
was,
Sorry, quick interjection. Every time he was experiencing some kind of ooh ah, like he's talking about these moments, I would be stopped in what I was doing, and you're like, this would usually be towards evening for me. It's like, oh, Joel just found something he liked. Oh, this was interesting for Joel. Oh, I wonder what this is. He's gonna have a lot of explaining to do when he gets home.
yeah,
So
yeah, Hawaii, for those who don't know, Hawaii is 3 hours time difference, 3 hours earlier. So 3 o'clock in Hawaii is like 6 o'clock in the evening.
for California,
Um, yeah. So and I work night shift, so it worked out well for me. Except for I was one to nap all the time because I was always up way too freaking early in my body, my internal clock. But I napped enough and was up enough to experience a lot of cool stuff. The people, super nice, and you hear different things. And I understand this, and I know that people say like some of the locals don't like people from the mainland and stuff, which is true to a certain extent. But in the most part, you're talking about people who surf and stuff like that. People, if you go there and you don't respect the culture, you don't respect their customs, and this especially goes for surfers and for just in general, they will not respect you and you might have a bad experience. But if you go there and you are there to enjoy the island, to see the culture and just experience it, you will have a great time. Uh, we went to Pearl Harbor, which was a powerful, powerful experience. We we snorkeled the North Shore. We went to the countryside and then snorkeled the North Shore and saw so many things. I think the one thing, the biggest impression, I wish I could have got this on the GoPro. I was swimming in this water that was like the same temperature of a lukewarm bath. I grew up in LA. I grew up in Hawthorne, the South Bay region of Los Angeles. Been to many of beaches where the water is warm, but not quite like this. Um, was swimming and I came over, I saw this thing. I was like, wow, that's seagrass, a blade of grass in this water. It's the only one. It's long. What is it doing there? Swam over it and realized it was a trumpet fish. This trumpet fish was almost like half, it was the size, 2/3 of the size of my torso. Like it was almost the whole size of my torso. I was like, why is that grass looking up at me? Oh my God, it's a fish. We saw so many different fish while we were snorkeling. We didn't see any turtles there, which kind of made me sad. But when we was on
well, isn't
Waikiki,
it the wrong time of year to see turtles?
no, no,
No.
nay. When I'll get there. When we was in Waikiki on Friday, so one of our tour guides informed us after we saw the fireworks. It was like we like holidays. Matter of fact, we make up our own holidays. We have one holiday called Friday. Every Friday night, they shoot off fireworks off the beach. Amazing. So the family, during the evening, went to the beach, waded out into this water, and the water was like about neck deep until sunset. And while we was out there, and you have to imagine, I can't even explain to you how crowded this beach was. As I was out there, I saw something. I was like, huh, that rock just floated up to the top. Oh my God, it's a turtle. And it came up, and you can see the head, the shell, and the front flippers as it came up out of the water, went back in, and started to swim back out to the ocean. Breathtaking. Like me and I think 3 or 4 other people saw this. We saw, we did a sub tour um, off of Waikiki where they take you to some shipwrecks and where there's a old warplane and some artificial reef um, that was out there, and they took us 112 feet under. And when you look through the portholes on the shipwreck, you can see these sea turtles laying on the shipwreck resting. I think one of the kids got a picture of one leaving the shipwreck, and it literally looks like it's flying up so it can go to the surface, probably so it can get air. Now these turtles can breathe underwater. I think they said they can hold their breath for like 5 hours, and they rest on these shipwrecks. And we saw 3 different ones. We actually saw some uh, in the sub. We actually saw some spotted rays, which they say you kind of don't usually see very often on a trip. And we saw this is strange. We saw a shark at the bottom, 112 feet, um, chilling, not moving, just there. It was a white reef shark, and reef sharks actually can move water past their gills. So unlike most sharks, it can't sit still. It was amazing. I've never seen fish. I've seen some fish that were huge, the size of the portholes on the sub, and these portholes was I don't know, about 3 feet in diameter, and they just swim right up to it. You can look at it. It wasn't like when you go to an aquarium and you're looking in. It's more like you're in the aquarium and the fish come and swim to see what is this right here.
It's a
It,
people aquarium.
it was pretty spectacular. Um, just the countryside, the the greenness of the countryside, the trees. They have one of the things that's interesting about the island is they somebody brought Indian banyan trees for shade to the island, and they grow all over the place. And there's actually like a grove someplace. I didn't go there this time, but I'm gonna go there next time, where it's hard to tell where the original root system is for the one tree because the way they grow, they just keep shooting out roots and they're like above ground and you can follow it back. And it's in that one moment when you see that and like these monkey pod trees, you realize like it's all part of the same entity, that island, those trees, those animals are all part of the same living thing that is the island. And it's just breathtaking. It's hard to be there and to come back and not want to go back. For the first couple of days of being back, because the the day before we left, we went to the Polynesian Cultural Center, was at the luau. Um, was there's like represents 6 Polynesian islands at this cultural center. It's run by Brigham Young University. They're doing a great job with this whole thing. Um, there was a lot of drumming from all the different cultures. And when I got back, when I closed my eyes and I heard any moderate to loud noise, the only thing I could hear was the Polynesian drums. And even now, when I close my eyes, I can still hear it. Probably one of the most profound magical experiences I've ever had. Um, ever. Talk about feeling connected with a particular area in the land that I could have ever have had in my life so far. Outstanding.
Well, with that, I'm going to wrap this up. You definitely can take this away as an affidavit for if you have not been to Hawaii, you definitely should go. Gifted or not, it is a wonderful place to go and visit and a fantastic experience, especially since it's going to be one of the good experiences in the land. I'm taking it for granted, Joel, you stayed away from any of the places that they said were negative, if there were any.
I didn't. I did go to, like I said, I did do the Arizona at the Pearl Harbor.
Oh, no. I'm talking about like places where they say if you go here and take that rock and whatever, something bad happens to you. That's what I mean.
Nah, stayed away from that.
Yeah. So, because I'm obviously not going to say, well, for you, the Pearl Harbor is going to be a sense of history. For me, it's going to be a place where you have to worry about me seeing things. So yeah, that's something for another time where Joel, talk about Joel keeping me snapped out of stuff that can suddenly take me away. That's I don't know how you do it, man. You've actually gotten to the point where you know when I'm about to go somewhere.
Yeah, we'll talk about that off camera in a second. 'Cause I said there was some stuff about one of the battleship that's there at the Pearl Harbor, and I think Taps or somebody went there, and there was experiencing things, and I was like, it's not like that. It's more of a background thing because it is kind of a museum, and they brought a lot of war memorabilia, a lot of artifacts from the war there. And I think that's what the people are experiencing, more like a recording of those people's lives, or they might not realize that they're not there, but it's just made the energy so the ship has that feel to it where things are still moving around. But that's something altogether different.
So the next show we're going to have is actually going to be on Sunday. Are you going to be off on Sunday, Joel?
I go back to work Sunday. I have today and tomorrow off, so I'll go back to work Sunday. Depending on what time the show is, I could possibly be here.
Yeah, if it's scheduled early enough, I'm hoping we should be able to do it in the morning, which should be about 10 a.m. and trying to see what was some of the ideas for the show. I'm going to leave it up to the viewers. If you guys have a preference, let me see this real quick if I can find. Okay, the topics I was given were talk about. Let's see, explaining in great detail how we help people. Are you interested in hearing the stories of how we help people, like how I help Jeff? Do you want us to talk about superstitions and their origins, and do they have any actual effect on the world? Should we talk about pushes, mind pushes, what they are, how, who can do them, because you don't actually have to be gifted, and how they can come at you from different physical as well as metaphysical things. Talking about guardian spirits, that's another topic. We're talking about spirits or ghosts or things that talk to you through dreams. And that actually leads into another subject, because Joel and I have dream fasted together, where we dreamed the same dream more than once. God, I think I've lost track of how many times we did that when we were younger. And I'm going to throw this one in also, talking about sliding between the edges, which we used to do, which was, we don't do this anymore because there's a lot of talk about glitches and people who've seen other dimensions. We didn't know that it was a dangerous thing that could happen, and so we don't really talk about that outside of how how we knew, how it looks, how it feels, and how to get yourself out of that. We can discuss that because it's apparently a really big deal to talk about what they call glitch in the matrix. We used to just call it sliding between the edges, or
Going beyond the veil.
Yeah, that kind of thing. That's it for us. It didn't have a really big name because, let's face it, it was the 80s. We were coming up with stuff, but as you can tell, we create the name because we didn't have anybody to really talk to. So these are the possible subjects. So you let us know what it is that you want us to talk about, vote on it, and if not, I'll pick a topic out of the ones that we have, and we'll discuss them at length on Sunday. And hopefully be able to make a whole show out of it, something that's interesting and something to learn from. Mainly because nobody's asked for any more data on how to do certain things. And oh gosh, I got to tell you about what I helped Sonia do recently. It was really cool. I'm very proud of her. She's actually the fastest learner in the group. She's head and shoulders faster than everybody. It's amazing. God bless you all and keep you, and hopefully you'll be safe until next time we meet.